morning, it's Diane here, Diane Roberts on YouTube. It's a knitting podcast today. It generally is a knitting, sewing, quilting, even some crochet. Today I'm going to have a little bit of crochet, a blast from the past. Cooking, whatever I'm getting myself into. Because I've had this blog going for some time, those of you who followed me for a while. I used to do paper stamp, rubber stamp inking of cards. That's when I first began my blog. It was for stamping of cards, and I was competing in challenges. So you needed a place to upload your cards in order to send them to a site that was having a challenge. That was probably around maybe 10 years ago. I'm not sure. It might have not been that long ago. Maybe it was 8 or 5, I don't know. But that's how my blog started out. Then I retired 2 years ago, 2 years in last November. And then I decided to call it a retirement video because I decided to take up knitting. And I was watching a lot of knitting podcasts, but I didn't know. First of all, I've always had a problem with the name podcast. I want to just call it a video recording. Okay. Well, anyway, podcast, knitting podcast, sewing, whatever. Today's actually a day, it's Wednesday the 29th of January 2020. I'm trying to do at least a video every other week, so twice a month, say. And this is probably might be my second, it could be my third, because I'm also including my quilting videos, which occur once a month on a Sunday. Well, the event takes place on a Sunday, and I record that. I've just started recording those because the folks at the Sit and Sew Sunday, it's called, have requested that I do that, so I'm doing it. A long intro. Thanks for returning if you've been here before. If you're brand new, welcome. I'm glad you happened upon my recording. All right. The first thing I'm going to do is show finished objects. I'm going to try to follow the format of a knitting podcast. The first thing is my only finished object for 2020. I'm going to be popping in and out of the frame here because I thought I was smart today, and I brought a cart on wheels because it took me a while to find a good place for light. It's early. It's not that early in the morning. It's kind of early in the morning, and I wasn't sure where the light should be, where the best light of the day would be. This is the south side of the house. This is where the sun comes in the afternoon, but I guess that's the east, and because I have a window along there, some sun's coming in, so I decided to go for the natural light. First finished object is the Hermione Half-Blood Print Socks free pattern on Ravelry. And here they are done. Show them up close. I like them very much. They came out nice and soft. I got this. If you saw my last video or my, I guess it was Christmas Eve video. This was my Christmas Eve cast on, and I talked about the yarn, which is from Earl Grey Fibers. I got it at Indian. Okay, my first, I don't know, if there's a little bit of a glitch here, my camera gave me some kind of a message which I couldn't read because it was upside down. So I started again on the WIPS, and this is something I talked about Christmas Eve, I think, because this was a mystery knit along that I started in December. Skein-Deer Knits had a Hulafton mitten knit along, and the first one I made was in these colors. I have one mitten here, not really, because I didn't do the thumb, but I have a mitten, and I'll show you. I really like the color contrast. It's made, both of the mittens I'm going to show you are from Cascade 220 fingering. Now this fits me fine. It feels good. I just have to put the thumb on. But I haven't put the thumb on, so let's see if it still feels like it fits. But I had the idea that it might be too small, because when you see this type of mitten, they're usually bigger. So I went back to see how do you make a bigger size, and I noticed that it was change the size of the needle. So these were knit on size 3, US 3s. Well, then I changed to a US 5, so I went up 2 needle sizes, same yarn, just different color, and I did the mitten again, and let me show them both at the same time. You can see the difference in size. This looks more like the way it should turn out. So I'm going to make my second one of this. Again, I didn't do the thumb. Well, because I've been busy, but I think the thumb fits the same way the other thumb. Actually, I think my thumb may be more exposed in this one than it was in the other one. But I enjoy this type of color work very much, so I'm anxious to cast on the next. Well, I'm going to put the thumb on first, and then I'm going to do the next mitten. So, to be continued. All right, that's that. The next I have is another, I'm going to show you another color work item I've been working on. We had Knitters Weekend at Slater Mill. The Slater Mill Association sponsored the knitting weekend, as it does every year, at Slater Mill in January. It was January 11th and 12th. I was there on the 11th, and I bought a pattern and some yarn from Sabito Farms for another pair of color work mitts. No fingers, no mitten, but so and they had a skein of yarn. It's gradient. These are the colors. Colors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the natural. And it's Cormo, I believe it is. Yeah, it's a Cormo yarn, which I've never worked with before, and it's great. It's great. So I've started this. It starts cuff up, and I've already changed color because it's only a mitt, so it's going to be color 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is just going along really quick. So this is my second whip. Color work. Okay. Third whip, which I've talked about. Ha! This thing I've talked about plenty. I tried to make a hat. It didn't turn out. I took it apart. I changed patterns to a pattern that was similar. I made it. It didn't fit. I'm making size large. I gave it to my grandson. He hates to wear hats, so he gave it back to me. So I took that one apart. It's a little like lumberjack type hat. Lumberjill toque. It's a toque. A toque. A toque. A beanie. It's a picture. It's a finished picture of it. Make sure I'm seeing it in the viewfinder. Okay. There it is. My friend Donna made one that is similar to this, and she added 12 stitches to the pattern, and I tried on hers and it fit over my big head. So here it is again. Here it is again. Oh, it's always falling off the needles because the needles are kind of small. Is that a stitch? I don't think so. Okay, so here's what it looks like. It's very dark in this. I don't think you can see. Well, it's black and it's red and it's cranberry. So I'm this far. Instead of 48 stitches, which it recommends for the large, I did 60. Needle size is 11 and 13. And it's very big yarn. We'll see what happens with that. Extra chunky or something like that. So that's another whip. Oh, I have socks on my needles because I like to have socks on my needles all the time because that's kind of like my favorite thing to knit. And I've mentioned this many times in the past. I knit on 9-inch needles. I like to knit on 9-inch needles. What I have here is to begin 2 cuffs. Here's my cuff. I'm just doing a vanilla sock this time. I'm starting again. Had another glitch. Okay, my socks. This is Patton's Croy Woodsy. Woodsy is the name of the design. It's a self-striping yarn. It's going to make a cute design. I knit my socks on 9-inch circulars, and I do them sort of like 2 at a time. I do 2 cuffs. I'll do a cuff, then I'll do another cuff. Then I'll go and make the leg and make the other leg. Then heel, heel, foot, foot, and then toe, toe. That's the way I do them so that I don't get bored and so that all socks get finished. So that's another work in progress. Now I spoke of this project, which is Andrea Mowry, The Weekender. If you've seen my podcast before, you know I did one in Patton's mold gray, sort of like the color that she has on here in the picture. And I really like that sweater. I made a couple of sweaters. three. And the Weekender, maybe because it has so much positive ease, is the one I like the most and the one I'll wear. The others are not very flattering to my figure. So anyway, I am using Peace Fleece, some Peace Fleece that I bought at Rhinebeck. Okay, and here it is. It's in a really cool color. It's kind of like a raspberry, strawberry, raspberry color. It does have a name, but I didn't bring my tag, so I can't tell you what the name of it is. But you'll be seeing this in the next few podcasts because I'll be showing you my progress. As you can see, it's just cast on, and I've joined the front and back, and I'm now knitting in the round. And it is, the back has a longer hem than the front. It's split. And this is really just, this is the knitting I'll probably take with me tonight to the Guild meeting. It's the 29th of January, and we're having a meeting at the Rhode Island Hook and Needle Guild at Slater Mill in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So tonight's the meeting, and it's always knitting, and you're much better off if you bring something that you can just knit without counting. And I don't have anything to count on this for a very long time. Angela Mowry, and the last sweater I made was, I made it according to the pattern, has you knit it inside out so that you're knitting in all the rounds, but you wear it purl side out, so it's so that you don't have to do all the purls all the time. And then there's a slip stitch and a purl stitch down the front to make a nice design down the center of the sweater. I've opted to not do it that way this time because I want a stockinette sweater, so I'm just going to do the sleeves and the body of the sweater and stockinette. I was trying to figure out what kind of a stitch I could do down the front and down the back, but I decided I'm not going to bother. This is going to be a very, very basic vanilla stockinette sweater that has a lot of ease. So it'll be reminiscent of the Weekender, but not the Weekender. This yarn is very nice. This was like bargain yarn. I'm still kind of afraid to spend a lot of money on yarn because I don't like the way things turn out, and then it seems like a waste. But this was on sale at Rhinebeck, and so I got it. It was only like maybe $8 a skein, something like that. And it's very nice yarn. It's just there was a limit to the colors and whether or not you could pull out a sweater quantity. I'm pretty sure I have a sweater quantity. And this time I'm using the needles as described in the pattern, which I think I went down last time, but I made a size extra large. This time I'm making a size large. No, I might be making a size medium with the bigger needles. I want to see how that goes. Because with all the positive ease and the larger size needles, I'm hoping they'll factor each other out and it'll fit. The other one fit. We'll see. I'll see as I go along. One more. This is, one more or two more? No, I showed that one. Okay, this is the butterfly cowl by Ravelry.com, Marin J. Should be a name. Marin J.A. Marin J.A. Knits at gmail.com is her website. The pattern's available on Ravelry. I'm looking for a name. Marin J.A. Well, anyway, this is interesting. It's a cast on. It's been cast on multiple times over this last week. I'm using Knit Picks yarn Chroma. I have it in black and a color called, what's the other color? This is the black label. And a color called, oh, come on, I know, oh, lupine or lupine. Here's the black. It's nice yarn. And here's the lupine. So these are the colors. This will be the multicolor that runs through the cowl, and the black is kind of like on the border each time. I thought these would be really pretty. It's got a lot of wraps and turns in it. and I think you have to pay strict attention. And I've been binge watching Outlander for the last week, or 2 weeks now. And so I get all hung up in the movie, I think, and then I don't know where I am. And so I've been having a lot of trouble keeping my knitting straight. I've redone it. Here's one that I've redone, thrown out. Here's the basic idea of what it should look like. That's the wrong side. Here's the right side. So it should look like this. That's going to be the top. And then the butterflies stop forming here. This got a little bigger, but then I messed up color number 4. So rather than try to pull this all out, because this had been started 3 or 4 times and the yarn's getting really shop worn, I tear it apart, because I tear it apart and redo it, tear it apart, redo it. So here's one that's been taken apart quite a few times, but it's still on, oops, well, I say that loosely. I was going to say it's still on the needles. It'll be on the needle in a minute so that I can show it to you. Okay. So here again, right side. That's what it looks like. I think I have the basic premise of how to make this. But see, while you're going along and doing the wraps and turns, it kind of gets bulbous. I don't know if I'm doing that right, but it does. But then once you get past that row, it flattens out. It's reminiscent of how you do lace shawls. They kind of are all in a bunch. And then as long as you know you have your center, you always have to have, I'm not giving away the pattern. It's like any lace pattern. You've got a center that kind of keeps coming down the middle of the shawl, or the middle of the cowl. And as long as you know you have that stitch in place, you should be okay. I've put this down for a few days. I got kind of crazy about it, and I was up to all hours of the night taking it apart, starting again, taking it apart, starting again, till I was driving myself crazy. So I put it down for a few days. I may attempt it again. Well, not today. Today is, if you could see my kitchen, the kitchen table is full of potting soil, flower pots, and house plants from various areas of the house. They're getting tired. It's time for me to repot. But right now I have to go back out to the Dollar Tree and buy some more pots, because I've already used up what I thought I'd use. And then this afternoon is no time for knitting, because this afternoon is quilting day. I have made a quilt, finished the top that I've been working on for 2 years. The top is finished. I got the backing cut out, stitched together, ready to go. It just has to be loaded on the frame and quilted. And that's the fun part. Well, the loading isn't so fun, but the rest of it is the fun part, the quilting part, right? So I got to get that going this afternoon. I might not finish it, but I want to at least get the quilt loaded onto the frame, and maybe I'll do some quilting tomorrow, or maybe tonight when I get back from the guild. Okay, I said there'd be a little crochet. That I'm going to close with this little bit of crochet blast from the past. I used to crochet all the time. I've probably been crocheting for 40 years, and I've done all kinds of projects, garments, doilies, everything. Well, this is an Afghan, which then I got a real distaste for crocheted Afghans. I don't know why, but I did. But I came across this one that I made in 1996, I want to say. Well, that's when the pattern came out. And I bought it at a yarn shop in Woonsocket that for the life of me, I don't even know where it was. There's a little tag, Never Enough Yarn, Woonsocket, Rhode Island. I think it might have been on Diamond Hill. I'm not sure, but I think the pattern was from 1996. It was I think it's a Leisure Arts. Yeah, Leisure Arts booklet. Romancing the Afghan. And I made this Afghan that's on the cover in similar colors, but not quite. Mine's more green and flowery than this is. So I'll show you. I pulled this out of the closet the other day. I might have to push my camera back a bit in order to get enough of it into the frame. Here it is. It's a giant, what are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, hexagon. They're hexagons. As you can see, it is floral colors, Some look very big and some look smaller, but they fit together because the stitches are the same. Or maybe it was my crocheting. I don't know. I remember making this and having fun making it. And then to assemble it, rather than sew it, you can probably see that I just crocheted it together. Crocheted it all together. But I liked it, and I've never even used it. It's been locked away since the 90s. I think I'm going to put it in the wash. I didn't put it in. I pulled it out the other day. Said, hey, that's where this is. I didn't even know if I had it or if I'd given it. I give most of the stuff I make away, so. I was going to wash it, but I decided to keep it out until I did this recording, and now I will put it in the wash. And it's acrylic. I didn't use wool in those days. It was all acrylic, so it'll wash and dry and hopefully come out nice. And if it doesn't, if it pills up, I bought a nice gleaner from Knit Picks when I bought the chroma yarn, and it's got 3 different attachments for the edge. I haven't tried it yet. I have a sweater I want to, clean up, so if this gets pilly, I'll use it on this too. So that's it for today. Pretty soon it's February. Get ready for Groundhog's Day. Is only a few days away, so let's hope this winter keeps going well. Take care, and yeah, go knit, crochet, sew, quilt, something, and have fun. Bye now.